Hello, everyone, and welcome to June's Dr. Spotfire. Today, we're going to talk about enhancing the websites with Spotfire and JavaScript. Uh, as always, learning is not driven by answers but by questions. Um, our session recording are always uploaded on Tipco Spotfire channel. We will share the links to playlist of even Dr. Spotfire in chat in some time. I want to mention that we released new platform for e-learning yesterday called Tipco Academy, and as till June 15th, we are allowing free access. So try to take advantage of that. You just have to use a branch code trial. I will post this one as well in the chat for you guys. If you have any questions, please post them in Q&A section of the Zoom because on chat sometimes those get lost. So please post it under Q&A. Oh, sorry. And today's feature session, Neeraj Khatri, our solution consultant, going to drive us through this amazing topic. Neeraj, over to you.
Thank you, Nina. Thanks, everybody. So again, thank you for attending this session. Taking your time out and getting on this session. I'm really happy to see everybody and excited to share what I have. Hopefully, we'll all learn something new out of this. I'm just going to share my screen. All right. So today's topic is about enhancing Spotfire with your web pages. So can you guys see my Dr. Spotfire screen here?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can, right? Okay. All right. So a lot of us we want Spotfire is good, but we want to put there are requirements where we want to put visualizations and charts on your parent portals and make your portals pretty and how to use analytics on your websites. So we're going to talk more about that. And just before I miss, and a quick introduction about myself. I'm a software solutions engineer with TIPCO, working mostly in the space of analytics with TIPCO Spotfire, data science, our data fabric platform with data virtualization, EBX, and cloud metadata. So today, again, the focus of this session is mainly on Spotfire and how we can enhance the web pages. And so I have a few things in mind. I have a few examples that I'm going to walk over to start with. And I'm going to start simple with just basic embedding, and we're going to go advanced into some JavaScript coding and using JavaScript APIs to do some mashup and everything. So this is what I want to share right now. And again, I have a separate um, a portal that I've created, and we'll go through this after we have completed this. So over to this. This is a portal that I created specifically for Dr. Spotfire, and we will go through all these examples one by one and code them out a little bit. Let us know if you need these, if you need to see the code, we can share them afterwards. Just send us an email and we'll see how we can send over the code to you. So starting with the first one, right? This is just basic instructions how we want to embed and how to do that, and there are some links down here for references. So let's say you have a website, you have a Spotfire report, right? It consists of two charts. This is basically expenses report where you have employee expenses, airfare consisting of the highest expense. And on the right, there's the line chart, which is basically a drill down. So when you select airfare, it drills down the particulars over time, right? So you have two charts and you want to put this on your website. So how do you do that, right? The simplest and the easiest way is to go to File, Share, Copy Link, right? Go to Advanced, and here you get a HTML embeddable code, which is an iframe, and you can copy that off the top and just paste it on in your code, right? And you have a few more options here. You have all these Boolean values that you can set and unset, and it's all documented. I have that. I have that in the instructions page on what each one of them does. So it's all linked here, so you can understand what each of those toggle button does and what it enables, what it disables. So anyways, once you copy this, right, you copy this iframe, and I'm going to go over to my code. So this is the embedding instructions. This is the first page. I'm going to go over to this example one, right, single frame. And I'm just going to paste that iframe here, right? You can select the width and height and so forth. And that's all you need to do. And you can run this example one, and you would have that page displayed here in your website. So this is basic embedding. You take the iframe, you copy that iframe onto your web page, and you get all the functionality, right? Now this is fine. Uh, this is fine if you want, if you have all your charts in one page, you want to display the page. But let's say, what if you want to do one chart here and another chart in a separate at the bottom, or one chart with smaller and other chart bigger, or have some different descriptions? How do you basically break them down? How do you show different charts differently? So again, the simplest way, again, to start do that would be to break each chart into separate pages. So I have now two pages, one with the bar chart and one with the line chart, right? And then you go to, again, file, copy that iframe, and you bring it over to your code. Let's look at example 2. I'm going to open the example 2 from here. And so you have two iframes now. One is the category bar chart, and the other is expense over time line chart, right? And then once you run that, you'll have two different charts. Now you can move this chart down, you can move it, resize it, you can do whatever you want, put a description, and it gives you a lot more options, right? But now when you select and you try to drill down, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to reflect on this one. So that's because the iframes operate on their own sessions. So it's like two people trying to read the pages separately, differently. So it's not going to recognize that we have selected this particular airfare category or lodging category. It's not going to detect it. It's not going to reflect it. But it's still an option if you want to keep it separate and not have any drill down. So again, this is the simplest way to show the two of them side by side, right? So how do you fix that? How do you have them drill down? So let's look at example 3. And so this is using JavaScript APIs, right? And let's look at the code here, which is the third example. So in this one, instead of iframes, I've used two content divisions div tags, right? And I've named them Spotfire ID 0, Spotfire container ID 1, and I've used the API code here. It's a pretty simple code. It's only this big. So if you look at the whole code, it's just like about that many lines, right? And again, I have linked. There's a link for that. We'll probably share it. JavaScript API overview, and it has the entire code. So that's the one that I highlighted, right? This part. All you need is 3 things there. So let's look at the code again. So all you need is, you can just plug and play this. You need the server name, the location of your analysis, right? That's one thing. These are, again, Boolean values, the same as the ones we saw in the copy link. Remember the toggle ones? Those are the same ones. You can keep them all on false, and it won't show any of those toolbars. And depending on what you need, you can enable or disable them. And so that's the second piece of information you need. The third one is the tabs, right? So we need to show tabs 1 and 2, and so you just link them here. So you can basically plug and play these 3 things: the server, the location of your report, the Boolean values for the tab, and the tabs, right? And when you do that, you'll have your third example, which is using JavaScript APIs. And if you look at this one, now you can keep your chart anywhere you want. You can move it down, you can resize it, and it will still function. You will have that drill down capability. So that's the third example that I wanted to share. And moving over to the fourth one, we're going to look at how to pop up your chart. So this is the same as example 3, where we are using JavaScript APIs, show two charts separately. They will function with drill down, right? Now I've just added a small pop-up section here. So as soon as you click on that, you can it pops out, and you can resize it. You can move it around. You can, I have added a pop-up for this too, and you can still have that drill down working, right? So that's pretty cool. So I've used jQuery UI. It's an open source library. I'm going to share it here. It's open source. It's pretty helpful. It has a lot of other features. So this is, of course, the dialogue feature. You could have animation, all sorts of things there. You could have like a separate buttons on your dialogue and so forth, right? I've just used the basic one here to show how we can use that library, the jQuery UI library, to sort of pop your visualizations out. And again, this opens the door for a lot more interactive websites, right? You can pop them up, show them anywhere you need. Let's quickly look at the code for that. Example 4, Popup. So again, it's the same code. We're using content division for container 0, content division for container 1. And I've added a small image below that. It's an open image. We can quickly show that under the images. Go open. Right, so that's the image that we are showing. And we're tagging it with a tag page 1 and tag page 2. And the difference is just this much. See, we are putting in 3. This is the jQuery UI library. There are 2 JS files and 1 CSS file. We can download them off that website, off their website. So we need to reference that. And we are using a function here, which is open div popup, and we're just tagging that to those buttons here. So we're tagging container 0, container 1. We're sending it over, and all you need is this one function here. And if you look at the code that they have, they also have some pretty good examples. And you can use, you can use a smaller function, you can use a bigger function, and you can use the animations again. But basically, it's just one addition of one function, and that's all you need to sort of implement this kind of a interactive report, right? So it's shareable, it's draggable, it's resizable, and it just makes things a lot more interactive. And again, if you have any questions, just put them on your chat, and we'll answer them all one by one after the session. All right. So example 5, right? So it's basically the same one. I'm just adding an extra layer to it, a small layer be it. So say you have the same kind of chart, and you want to have you want to drill down and not show everything and clutter the page with all these different charts. So you say you want to look at airfare, right? But you want to see one particular drill down at a time. So you can look at this one, or you can look at this one, right? Again, this is a separate visual with this drill down. But imagine what you could do. You can have 5, 6 different drill downs here, all working together, and it gives the user a lot more options, a lot more interactivity of what they want to do, and you can be really creative on how you want to use this. You can open them both if you need, resize them. Again, you can define your own sizes and layouts and so forth. All right, so those are the examples, 5 examples I wanted to go over. And again, lastly, I'm going to quickly walk through our a project that we did. It was an internal project, and let's quickly look at that. Right, so this is built on similar concepts, right? This is a classic sales data, online sales data. We have the categories on top, the shipping category, standard class, first class, same day category. The category which sold the items is a technology, furniture, office supplies, and the location. Here you have the sales and profit lines down here, and the chart in the middle is a scatter plot with showing different profit and sales values against against different categories. So if you look at, so the one down here is the least profit. It's actually a negative profit or a loss, and that's incurred by Ohio, the state of Ohio, in the state in the month of November. Anyways, I don't want to walk through the chart. What I want to walk through is how to implement this, right? Now, these on the left side, you see all these different. These are all toggle buttons. These are all controls that are implemented separately using HTML and JavaScript, and they are sort of linked to the Spotfire using JavaScript APIs. So you can, this is how it functions. Basically, you can toggle the categories on and off. You can reset them, and then you can reset. You can set the alignments for bars if you want it horizontal or vertical, and you can do the date filtering as well. So let's go over them one by one, right? The first set is the toggle buttons. So we have used a library called Bootstrap. This is what the library is. It's a Bootstrap toggle button open source library, which is pretty easy and pretty nice. And if you see, if you scroll down, you'll see that these are the kind of buttons that I've used, a little bit more customized, right? Don't have any text on them, and it's a little smaller. So basically, you change the CSS to get this kind of a toggle button, and so those are the toggles. And for implementing them, we have used a function called set filtering function. We'll go over the code in just a second. But so set filtering, so you're basically setting the filters. So when you click detoggle first class, it's going to set the filter externally and send it to Spotfire using JavaScript APIs, and it's going to set that filter up. So it's the same for all of these, right? Reset, also the same thing. It's going to filter, reset the filter. That's all it does. And for this one, the settings toggle bar alignment. Again, it's the UI is based off Bootstrap, the same library, and the way it's implemented is that you set a document property in the report. So you set it to a random function, and you tie a IronPython script to that document property. So whenever it sets a new random function value, it's going to toggle up. So this is just in fact one line of code here of toggling the bars. Reset. So this date filter is also based on set filtering function in JavaScript API. The UI itself is implemented in something called, it's a library again, it's a different library called a no UI slider. It was a pretty useful library, I thought, pretty handy. It has all sorts of features in it. But so that's what I used here to filter the date. That's what's used in the UI. And again, in the backend, it's using the set filtering function. So let's look at that code very quickly. So we have seen this one, right? We saw this code in examples 1 through 3. It's just a small set of functions that you plug and play. Let's look at the filtering capabilities here. So this is for the checkbox, the first one, delivery type. So just one function for that. So this handles all of these toggle buttons. You pass in, this is the actual filter, actual function that we are executing. It's called set filter. This is the Spotfire document. You said, you select the filtering scheme. You select the, table name, the column name, and the values you want to replace, and you send them in the set filter function. And I have the function open here as well. So this is the set filter method that we used, right? You can look at the details here. It needs a column and an operation. You can select the column, and you'll see that it needs the column name, same as this one. Column name here, it needs a table name, filtering scheme, filter type, and all that. You set those things, and the second thing it needs is an operation. Do you want to add the values, remove the values, replace? And so there are a few operations we have done here is a replace operation. So it's going to replace all your values. And then you just call that set filter function. For reset, it's even more simpler. You don't need to pass any values. All you do is you do add all. So it's just going to reset, add all the values, whatever they are. And then I'm setting the UI here. So I'm setting them to all on. So as soon as you hit the reset, if they're all off, it's going to toggle back to all on, right? So it's basically the same thing over for category type. Um, Filter, there's one function for setting the filter, one function for resetting. Same thing for sales location. So this is the toggle bar alignments. All you need to do is just set a document property to a random value, and it's going to toggle the buttons. Sorry, toggle the bar chart. And again, I have that set document property method as well. All you need is a property name and a value, and so that's what we're doing here. Setting the property name and value, so and it's going to execute an IronPython code in the backend and set those things. And the last bit is the no UI slider, which is the date. It's a little bit more complex, but the functionality essentially is the same. It's basically handled here with this function here. The first one is it's updating the date value. So as soon as you move the slider, you'll see that you're getting the updated dates here. And so that's basically these two HTML values. We're setting the dates. And this is, again, the set filtering function that we use. It's going to take a high and a low value. So high value of date, the first date, and low value in the filter settings, and set that filter to replace, which is going to sort of have the date filtering. So that's how we can build this. A pretty interactive charts. Last bit, I just wanted to show a couple more examples just for how it works, just to have a perspective. So these are all JSWiz charts. Again, they're implemented in as a pop-up. So you can do all sorts of things with it. You can pop up all of them, and you can make things more interactive. This is of course not a baseline or a standard of how to do things, but just showing what all can be possible. You can have like a route optimization, step-by-step kind of a website where you can guide your users through step one, give some description. Okay, so you have to mark these different distribution centers. Step two, you select the locations of service centers, and then it's going to give you an optimal route. So this is a route optimization category. So you can build all sorts of things with this by using embedding. And yeah, that's what I would like to share, and that's what I had in mind. Let's open it up for any questions. Back to you, Nina.
Yeah, thanks, Neeraj. That was really cool. How we can utilize Spotfire on websites. So yeah, the question I saw, there is one question about to whom can I request the code. You can email it to Dr. Spotfire at TIPCO, and we will try to send you the code. And that email address we will post it on chat. So Neeraj, what version of Spotfire you are using in your demo?
So right now it's 10.9, but when I created this, it was 7.14 or something. So
Oh, okay.
Cool. It upgraded over time.
Nice. And there is one more question about, can we call IronPython script via JavaScript API?
Yeah, so that's what we're doing here, setting a document property. Maybe I can show it. I don't know if I have it open. So, but I don't have it open right now. But so you basically set a document property, which we already went through the code using set document property function, and which you can assign an IronPython script to that document property. So whenever that property updates, you'll execute the Python. So yes, that's indirectly a way to execute Python using JavaScript API.
Okay. So I guess you already answered one of the question about, is the iframe code share version available in 10.3? So yeah, right. Uh,
Sorry, which one? The copy
yeah, the
or
iframe code. I guess it's
yeah.
yeah.
It's available. It's available in 10.3. Yes.
One of the question is about what's the trade-off between like having filter controls in web pages versus creating the filter control in text area within Spotfire.
Yeah. So again, it's all about making your websites pretty, making them more interactive. It opens the door for a lot more options and possibilities. The way you can customize your filters externally, probably you can't do those within the reports themselves. You can, but it really depends on how you want to have your case study, right? If you want to embed it, Spotfire in your website, or do you want your website in Spotfire? So it kind of depends how you want to take it. Uh, but this gives a lot more options, in my opinion, than using the standard controls of Spotfire.
Okay. Actually, one of the user is asking, can you please show again how you access that iframe code?
Yep, sure. So going back to, you need to be on Business Authors uh, or on the website, and you go to File, go to Share, Copy Link, and you'll have those options here. It's basically File, Share, Copy Link, and again, I think, Ninad, we can probably share these links, right, to
Yeah,
open to the public. So these links we'll share. The first one is Copy Link Dialog, so you'll see how you can reach that panel there.
yeah. Oh, and is it possible to turn off this by admins or
Yeah, it should be possible if certain options could be disabled by the admin.
okay, yeah. So if you guys are not able to see those, reach out to your Spotfire admins. They will able to provide more clarification on that.
And so
Um,
if you really can't reach it, and if there's no way to reach it, just it's just actually a line of code that's embedded in iframe. So all you can do is just, when you open a report, you will see that it opens up like this, right? Um, this is like it opens up with this URL. And so basically you can use the configuration block, something like this, append it to the code, to the URL, and have your own iframe. So you could make this up if you can't get access to this.
right, right, and yeah, no, it's not restricted to just a web player. In Analyst also, you will able to get the links. Oh, there is one more question about 7-Eleven. Is this iframe code new addition or it was
It's
available in 7-Eleven?
it was available in 7-Eleven. Yeah,
Okay.
it will be there in 7-Eleven as well.
And is there any like limitation on number of filters you implement? For example, like 50 or 40, is that too much?
It kind of depends on the processing power of your portal server, right? If there's no limit that Spotfire puts it, but it comes down to the limit that your hardware can handle. So that's what I would say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not very clear with this question, but I will go ahead and ask. But will loading the Bootstrap support files for getting functionality of Bootstrap have any performance issue while doing in Spotfire text areas?
So the Bootstrap library that we used, if it's specific to Bootstrap, it's for these toggle buttons, right? They have their own JS and CSS files. So it it really depends on the library that you're using. Bootstrap is pretty well organized, and it's open source. It's used by a lot of folks, so it probably won't slow down your reports. And no, it won't have any impact on the text area, because text area executes in its own thread within Spotfire. So whatever code you have in your text area, if you have any, that will execute in a separate session, separate thread on the server. So uh, so no, I don't think it will have any impact on performance.